Okay, buddy, what do you think of Wilkins coffee? I never tasted it. Now, what do you think of Wilkins?
Malicious Muppets notwithstanding, I start my day with an elaborate ritualized morning espresso. It is something I cultivate. I schedule time around it, buy special equipment to do it, cultivate my palate for it, and endlessly rehearse its techniques. You are watching a time-compressed version of a 15-minute process. I repeat the same actions in the same order every day, isolating minute variables or refining my technical control to influence the taste of the next day's cup. People who drink their coffee medicinally or from plastic pods for a caffeinated kickstart might not understand why I choose to start my day with an analog activity requiring concentration and skill before the coffee. It's nourishing for me. It inspires me to read and research coffee history and techniques. It's a personal interest of mine, and most importantly, I get to share the results of my efforts with my wife and other loved ones with whom I share a cappuccino. That feels good. As a teacher, I approach my lesson design the same way I do my espresso, as something I value, savor, and enjoy most when I share it with others. I will share my process with you and demonstrate how I generate project-based learning ideas. First, I warm up the espresso machine with the portafilter attached so it doesn't pull heat away from the shot. Then I prepare a scale to measure out my dose. Experience and research has proven that single-origin coffee from small farms produce the most reliable flavor results. Having a recent roast date is also important, as more of the oils contributing to flavor will still be present. Like wine grapes, coffee beans' flavor is influenced by the soil, altitude, weather, geography, wash, and the roast. Light roasts tend to be brighter with more acidity and have a higher caffeine level. As roasts darken, the flavor gets increasingly smoky and the caffeine level drops. Medium roasts are more balanced in flavor and tend to be my favorite type, as dark roasts often have a carbony burnt taste. 18 grams of coffee beans produces a double espresso shot. The most important item in pulling a good tasting shot is a high-precision conical burr grinder. These are very expensive, but there is no shortcut to getting a proper grind. If you're interested in home espresso, I recommend that most of your budget be spent on the grinder. Only good grinders have the ability to create consistent, reproducible grounds. Without the ability to control grind size to fractions of a millimeter, there is no point in pursuing espresso at home. Once you've dialed in the grind size through trial and error, you can create the puck. I suggest pouring in the fluffy coffee grounds a little at a time and then using a distribution tool to spread them to the edge. Do not shake the filter basket. You are trying to evenly distribute the coffee. When the basket is full, gently press the coffee down with a tamper to make room for the remainder of the coffee. Repeat the process until the coffee is packed. The goal is to create a solid puck with no cracks. Cracks will cause the pressured water to channel, leaving precious coffee grounds untapped and a poor quality shot. Insert the portafilter into the espresso machine. At this moment, I heat my coffee cup in the microwave and prepare the milk for steaming and texturing. Milk has 3 important components: lactose, protein, and fat. Angle the steam one tip just below the surface to introduce air. You are also caramelizing the lactose, balancing the coffee's bitterness. When the milk reaches body temperature, sink the wand to heat and mix it. Now you are uncoiling the balled-up proteins. The proteins are polarized as far as water is concerned, with a hydrophobic and a hydrophilic end. The hydrophobic ends of the proteins retreat from the water inside of the air bubbles, creating a surfactant. This bubble structure remains intact up to about 160 degrees Fahrenheit, so don't overheat it. Fats fill in the space between the air bubbles and give the creamy texture and mouthfeel. The extraction forms 2 streams of espresso known as mouse tails. The first part is dark and syrupy, the second wave is liquid coffee, and the third is the caramel-colored crema. Each layer of espresso has its own specific gravity. Stirring with a spoon as opposed to swirling in the cup will mix the flavors, and the crema will still return to the top. Spinning the milk is called polishing, and will consolidate the bubbles in the middle. Pour the lighter milk in swirls under the crema with the foam at the end. The fancy latte art is practiced at this point. This movie itself is a project-based learning style project. It required research and skills new to me. While the topic isn't appropriate for high school, it is for my audience, high school teachers. The technique of free associating to generate ideas is a good one. Serendipity and research are complementary. Your passion comes through when PBL is rooted in your interests. Consider your students' interests when planning your projects so their passions come through. Having lots of interests doesn't make you a dilettante. Not respecting a pursuit or using ideas without crediting them does. Generate the ideas first. The project will follow. Part of your discernment is rooted in research.